India is securing another geopolitical win over China under Prime Minister Modi's leadership. Amidst the constant threat of a Chinese military invasion and increasing naval aggression, Taiwan's businesses are turning away from China and slowly shifting their base to India. This has been admitted by James Huang, the chairman of the Taiwan External Trade Development Council, who says, quote, "It's evident that more Taiwanese companies are moving supply chains out of China and are establishing them in India," unquote. This admission is sure to rattle the CCP leadership. Beijing considers Taiwan a breakaway province and wants to keep Taiwan away from India. But here is a tiny nation defying Chinese bullying and moving closer to its biggest rival instead. CCP had even objected to Taiwan President congratulating Prime Minister Modi on his re-election, but the Chinese threats are backfiring, and instead a defiant Taipei is now moving closer to New Delhi than ever before in its history. The bilateral trade has reached a historic high, in turn also helping India transform into a central pillar in the global supply chains in the tech and semiconductor industry. And this comes arguably at the cost of China. The trend is not just limited to partnerships in semiconductor industry. Taiwan's supply chain shift has also focused on mobile telephone assembly industries as well as footwear. The future cooperation between Taiwan and India will entail Taiwan bringing in talented Indian students for training in semiconductor design and assembly. China's World War II scale military buildup and muscle flexing around Taiwan, followed by a trade war between the United States and China, saw increased FDI or foreign direct investment inflows in India, especially from Taiwan. James Huang reveals that Taiwan's FDI into India surged to $665 million in the 5 years to 2023. This compared to $227 million between 2006 and 2017, indicating an almost threefold increase. While total investment by Taiwan's firms in India has crossed the $4 billion mark. The bilateral trade between India and Taiwan has surged to $10.1 billion during the fiscal year ending March 2024. Now, firstly, the move showcases a strengthening of diplomatic and economic ties between New Delhi and Taipei despite CCP objections and its so-called One China policy. Second, Taiwan's leadership also sees India as a stable alternative in case political or diplomatic tensions with Beijing transition into an armed conflict. And thirdly, there is growing apprehension on the global supply chain's over-reliance on China, which broke down during the pandemic, impacting industries all across the world. India and Taiwan have developed a close business relation in recent years, with India keen on more investment from major chip-producing nation Taiwan to boost its own manufacturing and self-reliance in semiconductor industry. Deputy Minister for Taiwan's National Development, Kao Xian-Kue, expressed the need for Taiwan manufacturing firms who no longer find the Chinese market profitable to move their bases to India to bring down exposure to Chinese markets. Taiwanese top policymakers have said there is huge scope for collaboration between New Delhi and Taipei in areas of emerging and critical technologies, including manufacturing of semiconductors and electronics equipment. According to reports, Taiwan's Foxconn has big goals to aid India's ambitions of becoming a major player in the semiconductor industry. Remember, Taiwan occupies 60% of the global semiconductor manufacturing industry, used in all electrical and electronics devices that one can possibly imagine. There is tremendous scope for growth. India-Taiwan partnership could make semiconductor chip making a $1 trillion industry within years. But what will really rattle China is that India and Taiwan have already held initial discussions on a free trade agreement meant to fully capitalize Taiwan's expertise and India's resources and potential to an unbeatable partnership capable of challenging China's manufacturing dominance across industries. Removal of trade barriers and bureaucratic hurdles through an FTA will help Taiwanese companies set up manufacturing hubs in India without paying higher tariffs for raw materials and equipment. So why China should be worried about this diplomatic aggression driving India and Taiwan closer? Firstly, Taiwan is the undisputed leader in the semiconductor industry. Even China cannot match Taiwan's expertise and market hold. And while New Delhi is a new entrant, closer tech ties with Taipei may help India challenge China in the semiconductor industry over the next decade. India has been very keen on having manufacturing facility for Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Corporation, or TSMC, the world's largest chip maker, whose clients include the likes of Apple. Secondly, any Indian official endorsement of Taiwan may inspire other regional allies to follow suit, further damaging CCP's closely protected One China policy. Taiwanese Foreign Minister Joseph Wu said last year, quote, "We will continue to engage with the world to draw more global support, especially from federal democracies. Our relationships with India have been picking up steam in the last few years," unquote. Economic collaboration with countries is part of Taiwan's overall efforts to draw more international support to be able to confront Chinese coercion and stand up to any military aggression. Remember, Chinese lifelong President Xi Jinping has never ruled out, quote, the use of force to reunify Taiwan and has even told the Chinese military to be, quote, ready for actual combat. India is well aware of Chinese salami slicing and border aggression. The Galwan Valley conflict along the Himalayan border at LAC in 2020 not only resulted in deaths on both sides, but also plummeted diplomatic ties to their worst since the India-China War in 1962. Increasing Chinese naval surge in the Indian Ocean region has also prompted India to boost its own military and geopolitical alliances in the South China Sea, with the likes of Philippines, Vietnam, as well as Taiwan. Another turning point in Taiwan-India diplomatic ties was India's public acknowledgement of the Taiwanese elections in 2024, hailing the success of the democratic process. In turn, the new Taiwan President William Lai Ching took to platform X to hail Modi 3.0's victory in June, saying, quote, "We look forward to enhancing the fast-growing Taiwan-India partnership, expanding our collaboration on trade, technology and other sectors to contribute to peace and prosperity in the Indo-Pacific," unquote. India's Prime Minister Modi was quick to respond in kind, saying, quote, "I look forward to closer ties as we work towards mutually beneficial economic and technological partnership," unquote. Xi's CCP couldn't digest this simple exchange between Indian and Taiwanese leaders. Rattled by India's response, China went on to snap at India, urging New Delhi to stay away from Taipei. China's Foreign Ministry spokeswoman Mao Ning added, quote, "India has made a solemn political commitment regarding the One China policy, and it should be aware and vigilant against the political conspiracy by the Taiwanese side." A day later, Taiwan hit back at the conspiracy claims by CCP, saying, quote, "China's outrage at a cordial exchange between the leaders of two democracies is utterly unjustified," unquote. Threats and intimidation have been Beijing's tactics, but they never foster long-lasting friendships. Taiwan remains committed to building partnerships with India underpinned by mutual growth and shared values. All eyes now are on China's response. How will the CCP react to Taiwan's open admission and conscious decision to shift Taiwanese trade supply chains away from China towards India? And emboldened by New Delhi-Taipei ties, will other nations in the ASEAN region also start questioning Beijing's One China policy? Leave a comment, hit the like button and subscribe to Inconnect News for daily updates.